Uy, Mare! Ay, good morning, Mare.
Hoy, alam mo ba, Mare? Si Alin may kasama na naman lalaki kanina. Ay, talaga ba? Landi talaga. Kalagkarin talaga.
Hep! Oo, ikaw. Ikaw nga. Ikaw na nanonood sa amin. May gusto kaming ipaalam at ipaalala sa'yo.
Masaya man makipag-marites o chismisan kasama si kumare at barkada, matutong alamin ano nga ba ang tama o totoo sa mga ito.
Paano? Halika. Makinig ka sa chismisang legit, totoo, at may basehan.
Good day everyone! My name is Alessandra
And her partner, Patricia Barrios.
Welcome in our investigation of knowing
the theories of truth.
and your obligation as a critical thinker.
To start off, these are the objectives for modules 4 and 5. You can pause the video to read them and know what to expect in our presentation. Module 4 is entitled Theories of Truth, and the lecturer will answer the question, how is one statement labeled as truth? And as we go deeper into this, it would probably twist our minds in answering. Is it the final truth? In this lesson, we will tackle the two theories, the coherence theory of truth, correspondence theory of truth, and we'll end with the realist version of correspondence theory, which you can use on verification by intersubjective consensus. First off, what is coherence theory of truth? Coherence is a relational term. This theory is known to be the less problematic theory. It must relate to at least two philosophical categories. The first category includes formal knowledge claims in the nature of an analytic statement. The second category comprises formal systems like mathematics, geometry, logic, linguistic, and empirical systems. The two categories the theory aims to relate influence a philosopher's descriptions of the nature of coherence relations heavily. The point to remember in this theory is that it is in the form of formal knowledge. Examples of these theories include mathematical and tautological statements. The equation 5 plus 7 is equal to 12. It is proved by the coherence that it is a mathematical coherence with a formal arithmetic system. Tautological statements include either I graduate or I don't, or to be or not to be. It can be related to a logical coherence with a formal system of symbolic logic. Other mathematical statements include the sum of the angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degrees, and such that defining a mathematical term would be coherence as a well-formed formula of geometry. We can then say that all examples mentioned are well-formed formulas of the formal system they cohere with, like the sample mentioned from the formal system of mathematics. Therefore, to realize how a statement can be related to coherence theory would be through formal claims. Analytic statements can help in identifying the coherence of things. Kant defines analytic statement as one where the predicate is contained in the subject. Examples: puppies are young dogs. All bachelors are unmarried males. Fathers are male parents. Bigamy is getting married twice. Brothers are male siblings. All animals with hooves are herbivores. If these are the first terms of a statement, then it must cohere with how the term puppy, bachelor, and the others are used in the English language in the formal linguistic system. Example: amphibians are animals that can live on land and water. Birds are animals with feathers. Then, it must cohere with the stipulative definition of the terms amphibians and birds in the empirical system of zoology. In summary, it is noted that any attempt at the comparative analysis of the different versions of coherence theory must consider the nature of the first and second categories and the type of coherence relation they have. The second theory is the correspondence theory of truth. Like coherence, correspondence is a relational term. It must relate to at least two philosophical categories. The first category would be the philosopher's empirical knowledge claims. Please take note that empirical utilizes the five senses, which we did with feel, taste, hear, see, and smell. The second category would be the philosopher's theory of reality. In contemporary empiricism, where knowledge claims are believed to be in statemental form, the most common version of correspondence theory stipulates that the first category is knowledge claims in the form of an empirical statement, and the second category is the philosopher's theory of reality. An example for this theory would be the cat is on the mat. For this claim to be true, what it asserts must correspond with the state of affairs where there is a cat on the mat and the cat is on top of the mat. If what the statement asserts corresponds to the state of affairs, the claim is true. If it does not correspond, it is false. This next slide defines the realist version of correspondence theory of truth. This is useful not only in verifying empirical claims, but evaluative claims as well. This allowed the most primitive man to survive in the contemporary period, as this is the one found in almost all, if not all, naturally evolved languages. Next, we would tackle about the examples of empirical claims. First would be the present approach. I am very attentive today. The girl beside me is wearing a red dress. My classmates are noisy. The weather is warm. Then, it is correspondence with direct observation. The second would be the futuristic approach. Please note that we appeal to the evidence of observation of past regularities. The sun will rise tomorrow. Earthquakes are often followed by aftershocks. Those clouds mean it's going to rain. Then, it is correspondence with future observation. Next would be the past. People Power 1 succeeded due to U.S. intervention. It was Galman who killed Ninoy Aquino. Then, correspondence means the use of documents and testimony of eyewitnesses in order to corroborate the claim about the past. And lastly, empirical generalization in varying degrees of generality. Almost all UP students who study hard finish their courses. Most UP professors are qualified to teach their courses. Then, it is correspondence with the evidence provided by the representative sample of the population concerned. Let us proceed with the verification by intersubjective consensus. It is the task of complying with the process of verification using the correspondence theory of truth. Claims are generalizations of the intersubjective consensus of real people playing a language game while sharing a form of life, claiming that your evaluative judgment is supported by a strong intersubjective consensus. Intersubjective means involving or occurring between separate conscious minds, and consensus is a general agreement. Gathering of intersubjective consensus is an empirical task. You can establish the rightness of this evaluative claim only if you can muster the required intersubjective consensus from a concerned public, like the academic community nationwide, to a universal audience to further strengthen consensus. It is easier and when a claim is true judgment, as it corresponds with the value or moral system of the concerned public. This means that an intersubjective consensus about moral and immoral behavior has already been codified in the form of a moral rule or moral principle. Moral rule or principle is a generalization of the intersubjective consensus of people playing a language game and sharing a form of life. Let us proceed with the definition of prescription and proscription. Prescription is the right or title acquired under common law by such possession, and proscription is an imposed restriction or restraint. Examples: stealing is wrong. Plagiarism is wrong. The proscription, do not plagiarize, is the correct and proper thing to do, should also be accepted if this evaluative claim is accepted. Proscriptions as well prescriptions are evaluative inferences from evaluative judgments asserting what is good, moral, virtuous, desirable, or just. If there were no discrepancy between the truth and what people want to believe, we would be guilty of dissonance. What is the meaning of dissonance? Dissonance is an instance of such inconsistency or disagreement. The falsifying instance of prescriptive claim is not a scholar who plagiarizes, but by establishing the rightness of the evaluative claim, which is plagiarism is good, but please take note that a legal or policy proposal is in the form of either a prescription or prescription. Examples of these legal or policy proposals would be that prostitution should be legalized, homosexual marriages should not be legalized, two-child policy should curb our population growth, and total logging ban should be implemented for the next 25 years. There are also two types of intersubjective consensus. First would be the deontological. It emphasizes the act or behavior's actual nature, or that the consequence is not really important. An example would be that the total logging ban is good in itself without thinking of the consequences. And the second would be the teleological, where the results from the action or behavior is defined. For example, the consequences of the total logging ban determines if it is good or bad.
For Module 5, we'll enter the realm of known, knowable, and unknowable. Also, we'll run through the world of provable and unprovable. By knowing them, we can easily think and analyze if we'll accept a statement or truth that was presented to us. Remember, first, always look for evidence. If there's no evidence, immediately reject the statement. Just like a saying in law, no evidence, no case. Second, having doubts isn't bad at all. It just shows that you are seeking for the truth, and when in doubt, ask questions. Lastly, listen while I present the realm of known, knowable, and unknowable, for it will help you distinguish between accepting and rejecting the truth presented. These realms are called as epistemic distinctions. Actually, this is very self-explanatory, but will make it more clear and understandable for you. So these are the important notes I gathered about the epistemic distinctions. So first, science belongs to the realm of knowable. So why knowable? Kasi nga as time passes by, may mas na-explore kaalaman na nadidiscover pa. So knowable siya. Non-stop kumbaga yung pag-alam mo sa mga bagay-bagay sa science. So there are theories na nag-debunk ng mga scientists as time passes by, di ba? This is because knowable pa ang science. Next, note that realm of knowable is extrapolation from known. Meaning, those things, gaya ng science example, known na siya, pero gaya ng sabi ko, nag-evolve tayo, so may changes siya from known, nagiging under na siya ng realm of knowable. Third, kapag walang evidence na may present sa isang claim, or this is unprovable, it just means that we will under that statement as realm of unknowable. Yet, we know that it can be changed as time progresses. And of course, if the claim is provable, then either known or knowable ang isang statement since meron ay present na evidence for it. We always talk kung anong meron ngayon in our present time. Lastly, the evidence could be in fact or in principle. So even science and math naman, no, we can rely sa principles as our evidence. Like for example, sa math, a postulate is a statement that is assumed true without proof, and a theorem is a true statement that can be proven. The idea about heaven and hell is under the realm of unprovable, since there is no evidence presented that these things exist. Yes, as a believer, a Roman Catholic, we do rely on what the Bible says, and this is respected. While on the other hand, the Bible can be used as evidence in the present days, for it doesn't give us tangible evidence or even established truths. And same goes with that the soul that survived death is trapped in a cycle of reincarnation. So, it is our duty to reject unknowable claims as a critical thinker since wala naman siyang presented na evidence. We simply call them as evaluative claims. For example, again, that apple tastes good. Kumbaga for them, that tastes good. So in simpler terms, you need to evaluate that claim first bago ka maniwala. But still, we need to reject that kasi pili lang naman kayong umaagree sa claim na yun. So next one is unprovable claims. And dito na under yung chismis, superstitions, and chika ng barkada. It is good to hear chismisan, and this is considered as bonding talaga from matatanda, magkakapit-bahay, or even magbabarkada. But always be careful in relying to those truths na wala namang evidences. Maybe for you, mali siya, but there are people believes na tama yon. Society is very diverse, and everyone is different from one another. And we must be smart in choosing what to believe in. Walang mali magtanong at alamin ang katotohanan. Responsibilidad nating maging isang mamamayang kritikal mag-isip, radikal magmahal, at matalino sa pagdidesisyon. This is my final verdict and reminder to all of you. First, never accept the truth of any statement or belief unless there is an adequate evidence for it. Second, remember that only claims in the realm of the known or knowable is provable, and the unknowable is unprovable. Then third, accept the truth of the beliefs in the realm of the known, suspend judgment if the belief is in the realm of knowable, and reject all beliefs in the realm of unknowable.